All right. So before we end, I'm gonna just end with one of my favorite slogans and rallying cries. All right. And you probably know it's simple. All power to the people. All power to the people. All right, y'all. I need y'all to join me in this chant. It goes 1, 2, 3. Abolish the police. 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 We gotta make those cats on top of that building hear you. Right? I see you. What's good? 1, 2, 3. Abolish the police. 1, 2, 3. Abolish the police. 1, 2, 3. That's right. Right? That day is coming. They said that slavery would never end. Well, guess what? In this state of Massachusetts, we got a statue about black men who are armed. Right? Because when JD was talking about jailing the cops, we can look back at our own history. Right? After the Civil War, black people had 12 years of radical Reconstruction. Who's ever heard of Reconstruction? Not enough people. You got to know about the history of the state. During radical Reconstruction, for 12 years, black people were armed. They had governors. They had political power. They laid the foundation for public schools in this system. Right? And they got the nerve to say today that black parents and black people just don't care about education. And I teach 5th grade, and that's BS, right? Now, the only reason that black people were able to have those 12 years of relative freedom was because we had arms. We defended ourselves from white supremacists. Right? So, when we say abolish the police, who here thinks that white supremacists like Dylan Roof, like, what's his face, Rittenhouse, who thinks that they're just gonna put down their guns and give up? No! Right? They're not doing that, so why we gotta do that? Right? So, when we talk about abolishing the police, we also gotta think about it as defending ourselves. Because it won't stop until we make it stop. So, I want to bring up my next comment to talk about what's happening in Texas. Because what's happening in Texas is what's happening in Boston, is what's happening in Portland, right? Is that we have people of color who are dying at the hands of the state. And these are people who signed up to fight for this country, right? In the military, the Navy, to shed their blood, right? And they're showing up dead, hung, sexually assaulted and being brushed under the rug, right? And somebody in Brockton, a brother Elder Fernandez, I'm not sure if y'all heard about him, he was found dead, hanging, lynched, 28 miles from his car. So I'm going to bring up my comment Yesenia to talk to you about that. So give it up for Yesenia. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Yesenia. I'm an organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. In the spirit of Black August, I wanted to highlight the importance of multinational unity. Meanwhile, our black siblings are being murdered by police. The military-industrial complex is facilitating the murder of its own soldiers. Family members, friends, and elected officials in Massachusetts are demanding an independent investigation into the death of Army Sergeant Elder Fernandez. Elder Fernandez was a Cape Verdean soldier from Brockton who was found hanging from a tree 30 miles from Fort Hood, Texas, where he was stationed. In May, Elder filed a sexual abuse claim with the Army, and earlier this month, he was hospitalized at the base. Then he went missing. Days later, his body was found hanging in a tree miles from Fort Hood. The police and the military want us to believe that Elder took his own life. But we know that the military intimidates survivors of sexual assault and harassment in the military. Just in June, another soldier, Vanessa Guillen, was found murdered near Fort Hood after reporting sexual assault. During the 3-month search for Vanessa, 3 other missing soldiers' bodies were found. Men and women alike have been sharing their experience of sexual assault while in the military. The U.S. government is not ignorant to this. Just last year, the Department of Defense uncovered that sexual assault in the American military surged in the last 2 years driven almost entirely by a 50% increase in assaults on women in uniform. On July 10, 2020, the U.S. Secretary of the Army, Ryan D. McCarthy, announced that he would order a, quote, full independent review of Guillen's case. But we won't be fooled. If the Army is investigating itself, it will do everything to protect itself. The military-industrial complex will not find itself guilty. Clearly, Fort Hood does not care for the lives of its soldiers. Predatory military recruiters go into our hoods to target working-class black and brown youth in exchange for a wage and maybe an education. But when they disappear from their base or when they report sexual abuse and end up murdered, they are real quick to betray their own soldiers. We need multinational unity because the state oppresses all of us. Rich billionaires profit off of war, and their true power lies in their ability to convince us that war, terrorism, and exploitation is in our interest. Capitalism does not value its workers, the people who actually make this society run. We demand justice for victims of police terror, and we demand an end to the Imperial Army. Stop using brown and black people to fight wars that are not ours to fight. The military system that lets its soldiers be murdered is the same police system that attempted to take Jacob Blake's life. We want an end to racism and patriarchy here in the U.S. and an end to colonial activity around the world. As Vanessa Guillen's sister Lupe said, if you can't protect them, don't recruit them. Fort Hood needs to shut down. The military-industrial complex is guilty of not only terrorizing most of the world, but facilitating the murder of its own soldiers. And I just want to end with a chant. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. Thank you.
I think y'all know how this one goes. Indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. I said indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. I said the whole damn system is guilty as hell. I said the whole damn system is guilty as hell. That's right, because we know it wasn't just these individual cops that killed Jacob, that killed Vanessa. It was a system, right? It's white supremacy on autopilot, right? Because it doesn't matter who's in the White House. You can have Jesus Christ in the White House, right? You can have the Buddha in the White House. You can have the Dalai Lama in the White House, right? Black people will still get gunned down every single day by the police because it's a whole system, not an individual, a system. And because it's still Black August, and we're in the stomping grounds of Malcolm X, El-Hajj, and Malik al-Shabazz, peace be upon his name, right? Malcolm X walked these same streets, right? When he was Detroit Red, right? The same type of person who our media and a lot of our system likes to throw out. They say, oh, he's a gangbanger, he's useless, right? But Malcolm X turned his life over and became a revolutionary. And that's what we're afraid of, right? And Malcolm also said that if we are dumb enough to go fight in Vietnam for democracy that we have never experienced, if we're dumb enough to go fight in Korea for a democracy that we have never experienced, or go fight in our own continent of Africa, right? Defending rights that we have never tasted, then we cannot win, and we cannot win liberation, right? So, we can't write off people, because we may have the next Malcolm X in front of us. So, I want to bring up this brother who's a teacher, Cecil, who's going to talk to you a little bit about labor, right? Why teachers, organized labor, needs to get involved in this fight, because as we saw with the NBA players going on strike, and then Obama coming in and doing what he does, then yeah, blew that up. Facts. Right? So give it up for Cecil who's gonna drop some knowledge on you.
PCO, my name is Cecil Carey. I'm a teacher here in Boston Public Schools. And in case you didn't know, we're in the fight right now.
That's right.
Because in case you forgot, we're still in a global pandemic that's been devastating our black and brown communities.
Right.
And we're going to be out here fighting to make sure that our students, their families, and our staff are kept safe.
Right.
But I'm not even here to talk about that today, and I don't have too much time. I'm here to give a history lesson.
Take your time, comrade.
The history of the labor movement is a history of struggle.
Right.
Not just about wages and benefits. We get a bad rap,
Right.
largely because of these police unions, let's be honest, right? We get a bad rap. But the history of the labor movement is the history of struggling against the boss, of striking, of fighting for safe communities and equity. From police brutality at home, austerity in our schools, to war abroad, the labor movement stands united. There's nothing more powerful than workers acting collectively to fight for justice.
Right.
Because without workers, the world doesn't run.
That's right.
Without workers, nothing gets done. As a BPS teacher, I see firsthand every day how this system fails us and our community. Not only for our teachers, who teach in windowless classrooms, who don't have enough resources, but for their communities as well. For my students, I have students experiencing homelessness, food insecurity, and they're disproportionately black and brown.
Right.
How can our students be expected to learn and be attentive when they're hungry and they don't know where they're going to sleep tonight?
Right.
This is the reality for too many students in Boston Public Schools. With COVID-19, it's only getting worse.
Right.
Our schools need to provide critical social services.
Yes.
Food. We need a moratorium on evictions.
Right.
We need stable internet and technology for online learning.
Right.
And above all, we're coming here today to say we need an end to racist police brutality that's devastating our community. Year after year, we have to fight the city and Marty Walsh just to get the basic resources we need.
Right.
You can vote for that. You can vote for that. That's right. And yet, year after year, he expands the police budget.
Right.
414 million, if you lost track. 414 million. And for what? And for what? And for what? They patrol our neighborhoods, surveil our communities, surveil our marches, break our pickets, and brutalize our black and brown communities.
That's right.
It's only through collective action that we can fight back and fight for the Boston that we know and love.
Right.
Just a few months ago, amidst the national rebellion in the aftermath of George Floyd's slaying, the Boston Teachers Union passed a resolution which stated that we believe as teachers we do not need police in our schools. We need counselors.
Yes.
We need psychiatrists.
Yes.
We need go to lunch.
Yes.
We don't need them.
Right.
As a teacher, I see how all our struggles are connected. From adequate funding to education, to housing, to racist police terror, we have a common target: the rich, who impose racist austerity as they line their pockets.
Right.
Teachers are joining workers all around the country as we rise up against racist police terror. As Comrade Nino said, this past Wednesday, NBA and WNBA players organized a strike in response to the attempted murder of Jacob Blake. Players refused to work in solidarity with Jacob Blake and all victims of police brutality.
Right.
And I'm going to give you a little history lesson. This strike follows a long tradition of black athletes using their position of power and their platform to protest against white supremacy. In 1961, Celtics legend Bill Russell and several other players refused to play in a game after being refused service by racists in Lexington, Kentucky. In 1967, Russell and other black athletes met in Cleveland, Ohio to defend Muhammad Ali, who was being attacked after he refused to fight in the imperialist war in Vietnam. On the West Coast, the International Longshore and Warehouse Union made a significant intervention into this national uprising by organizing the Juneteenth West Coast port shutdown.
Right.
Y'all hear about this? Yeah. They closed down 29 ports in the U.S. and Canada. Again, y'all, without us, nothing happens.
Right.
Without the workers, nothing happens. We gotta shut this down, and we can. Since the murder of George Floyd, hundreds of thousands of workers across the U.S. have engaged in work actions against this violence and theft. This increased fight back shows that workers are ready to fight. Workers are ready to fight. We're not just fighting for our wages and benefits. We're fighting for the common good, for our community, for our students, for their families. And we're not going to stop fighting. I just want to close by saying I stand in solidarity with the nationwide revolt against racism. Boston Teachers Union stands behind you. We're going to keep fighting. Thank you all for coming out. I'll close it with a simple chant. Black Lives Matter. 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 Peace, y'all.
All right, I'm trying not to touch this joint too much because I'm getting tired of wiping it down. So I want to bring up this next sister who, honestly, I think if you don't know her, you got to get familiar, right? I mean, she's a giant in this city, in the struggle for justice in this city. If you don't know Phoenix, right, you got to find out. And that's all I'm going to say. So give it up for Phoenix. Make some noise!
Like this? Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Okay, I see y'all a little tired like me. So let's take it from the top. Indict, convict, send these killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Come on, indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. I said the whole damn system is guilty as hell. I said the whole damn system is guilty as hell. Okay, good evening, Boston. I wouldn't do my duty if I had people brutally murdered by the police. We've had people harassed by the police. We have people poor that rather spend money on the drugs that's going to keep them on the side than have people actually support them and help them. Housing crisis is crazy. People are dying on these streets. Yet the system still keeps going like everything's okay. We are not okay. We are all grieving collectively. Everybody's been watching the media, everybody's been watching the news, and you've watched what's been happening. Do not just say, convict those officers. Learn their names and put them out there. Learn the names of all the ones who stand above you and sit there and critique you. Learn their names, because they push you to go to the polls. They're going to tell you that's the answer. I'm not here to tell you not to vote. That is not my job. But I am telling you, if you're in an abusive relationship, get out of it. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life, but if this is the only way that you've been pushing this movement, you need to be doing better. We have people who've been continuously marching, continuously putting their lives on their lines, putting their families' lives on their lines. Boston is very comfortable. We are not comfortable. A lot of y'all are not from other areas, but let me tell you what we've been dealing with for the last week. We ain't even hit Carnival, right? And we had 152 state troopers. No, not police officers. We've had nothing but state troopers. Accompanying Mattapan, Dorchester, and Roxbury, whether people are outside or not. Charlie Baker has deployed over 1,000 National Guards. He has not spoken to his people about what's going on. He just deploys them. That's it. I'm not telling people what to do. But I'm telling you that if you wake up every morning and you want to just go to work or you just want to go to school, then you need to be part of this movement. If you haven't reached out to a family member, and I continuously tell you, in your break rooms, at schools, all these classes, everything, then you need to be doing more. There have been rollover groups, FTP, PSO, so many amazing groups that have come together in the last couple of months to gather people together. But there is work for you to do as well too. It's not just these marches. Speaking to my white people, there's work to be done. That is something that you have to work on. Not just books, but the people you speak to. For my black and brown folks, I see you. I see you. I see you. I lift you up. We must lift each other up. We cannot wait for somebody else to die on camera for us to get outraged. Furthermore, it's utterly disgusting. It's utterly disgusting how obsessed we've gotten with videos and people dying on camera. Like animals. Ridiculous. Watching these mothers replay their story. We have mothers right here who are asking for justice. We have young people who are losing their heroes right in front of them, asking for justice. They're not asking, oh, it's so cute, they're so young, they're stepping up. No. We need to do more. We have to do more. We have to do more. It's not a choice. Whether it's 20 of us, 30,000 of us, 6 of us, we gotta be outside. We gotta make noise. We can't be quiet. If we be quiet now, then we'll continue. The war is on us now. Y'all done fucked up and tried to join us now. Y'all gotta rock with us. But when I got your back, you got my back, right? I got your back. I got your back. I got your back. With that being said, there's a young lady who's had my back ever since she was like, what, 15? I'm about to pass it to her. I had to ask to introduce her. Because this is one of my little fireflies right here. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Kathleen, class of 2024 of Suffolk, because she just got in, y'all. For political science, y'all. Now, Kathleen, tell me how you feel, y'all. seen is minimal. We've been fighting for years. We marched for Oscar Grant in 2009. We marched for Trayvon Martin in 2012. Trayvon Martin was supposed to graduate the same graduating class as me. I'm standing here and he isn't. We marched for Sandra Bland in 2015, and we will continue marching for all their names and their legacies in 2020 and beyond. The system is not just broken because of killing cops. This system's broken with mandatory minimums, keeping families a part of them, with a pay-to-leave system, with bails becoming so unaffordable for low-income housing. The public defenders with thousands of cases on them, judges seeing people as numbers, no longer people with stories, people who need help, people who need rehabilitation. We need restorative justice in the system. We need to help and fix this, what's currently institutionalizing people of color from laws that were made in 1980s, dead presidents representing us as if they were still here. Protect black trans people. Protect people of color. Protect black lives. Protect black dreams. Protect all of it. Liberate people of color. I shouldn't be here to tell you this. I shouldn't be here in these protests saying this. This should be known. This should be the status quo. The status quo to protect each other. Why can cops get away with shooting somebody 7 times in the back and I can't get away with jaywalking? Why is there no accountability in here? Sorry, give me a second. I get a little emotional thinking about this. Breonna Taylor's killers haven't been convicted. Trayvon Martin's murderer sells PR with his name on it, as if it's a trophy to kill that child, as if it was something that it was, I can't put words. How could someone be okay with that? Taking a boy's life. His life ended there. There was no high school graduation. There was no girlfriend. There was no boyfriend. There was no nothing after that. It just stopped. It was over. And you remember how young that boy was and how conservatives tried to weaponize his death. You remember all of this, and we're still seeing it today. This system isn't just shattered because of broken cops, and we know this. This system is shattered because America has decided not to protect people. Sorry, there's a bug on me. America is built on the back rich of the poor, yet it supports the rich. America is built on the backbone of the people of color, yet it kills them. America refuses nothing to hold accountable. There's no accountability. I wanted to do a final chant. What do we want? Justice! What do we want? Now! What do we want? Justice! What do we want? Now! If we don't get it, shut it down! If we don't get it, shut it down! If we don't get it, shut it down! If Ahmad didn't get it, shut it down! If Trayvon didn't get it, shut it down! If Sandra didn't get it, shut it down! If Oscar didn't get it, shut it down! Thank you.
All right, we're about to start marching real quick. I'm just going to leave you with one last statement. We're going to be marching to Franklin Park. And like I said, the Jericho movement, which is a movement to free political prisoners such as Mumia Abu Jamal, Leonard Peltier, Sundiata Akoli, right? Raise your hand if you know Assata Shakur, right? So Assata Shakur's co-defendant, Sundiata Akoli, still been in prison for about 40 years now, right? So when we say that Assata taught us and we love Assata Shakur, we gotta love Assata's partners, love Assata's comrades, right? And we gotta fight to free him. So for the three folks on top of that roof. I'm not sure folks have heard, right? The BPD union, or former union president, was found guilty of rape.
Right.
So I need y'all to join me in this chant. How do you spell sexist? BPD.